Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I'm Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
What's happening?
I've been playing a lot of Lego Star Wars, and I love that Billy D. Williams is in it. It made me want to intro it this way.
I was going to say, it makes you sound like Love Lines. Remember that? Remember that romantic advice column with Adam Carolla and
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was a throwback.
Yeah, Love Lines.
Well, on tonight's episode of the Brutal Game, we're going to throw it back to just a little few days ago when we're quickly going to go over the action from the quarterfinal matches since we last spoke to all y'all. And then we're going to change gears a bit to discuss the drama over with the United States men's national team with old Greggy Boy and old Gio. Got weird real quick. And then, of course, well, normally we would pass things over to the Sultan of Sausage. Today, we're gonna take the beer news out, and I'm gonna teleport us somewhere special.
Ooh,
Quick little bit of information.
Of course, you have to use the word teleport us.
Yeah,
is it going to be an immersive experience?
I mean, everything's labeled that, so sure, everything's an immersive experience. Everybody says that. You see these new McDonald's fries? The salt's immersive.
Yeah.
And then we're going to close out the pod reviewing this week's semifinal match and previewing Sunday's World Cup final. It's here. Gosh, in a blink of an eye, it feels like this was over. But first up, it's time for the beer. Who's up first, gents?
Sure. We're gonna have two, but from the same brewery. And Blake, you're actually familiar with them because you gave us these cans last year sometime, I think.
Oh, sweet.
And I don't know if we've ever had it on the pod before. It's from Hardywood Brewing.
Up in Virginia?
We're going to have Christmas Morning.
Yeah.
Imperial Milk Stout with spices and coffee.
You know what's funny? I had one of those for Thanksgiving this year.
Did you know?
I did.
Have we had them on the pod? Have we shared their story? Where? Do you remember any of it? I don't.
You know, man, because I think this was during the times of Ron's back and forth to the country. I don't honestly remember, my friend. Like,
I don't either.
I don't think you had it. And if you guys did have it, it would have probably only been me and the two of you remote, maybe.
Yeah,
it might have been during the dark ages.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But anyways, they're out of Richmond, Virginia. And they have a whole bunch of awesome beers, and they even have those fun, like short-nosed bottle type beers. They're really small neck, awesome style of like bottle. But their story, how Hardywood Park Craft Brewery came to life. Our co-founders, Eric McKay and Patrick Murtaugh, were introduced at a young age to their friendship of their parents. Their families would vacation together, so it wasn't long before the two would forge a strong friendship of their own. Years down the road, a well-timed meetup at a sheep station in Australia. That is a well-timed meetup,
right?
A sheep station in Australia.
How random!
Very random.
You never know where it can happen.
Exactly. It brought their passion for home brewing and craft beer culture into sharp focus. It was there at Hardywood Park where they shared their first glass of full-flavored home-brewed beer. The day inspired 10 years of hard work and planning, Eric on the business side and Patrick on the brewing side, and brought their dream into reality with the launch of Hardywood Park Craft Brewery. Officially began the purpose to do it in 2011. And there's just a little bit more to their story that you can go into, but I won't necessarily go on that. Talks about their local sourcing, environment stewardship, community engagement, and so on. You can head over to hardywood.com to view their very slick site with a lot of good info on it. And for the beer we're having, it's called Christmas Morning. So it's Hardywood Christmas Morning, lends a cheerful, heightened descendants to our gingerbread stout through a deep conditioning, hint on what we might have next, on locally roasted Blanchard's Coffee Company coffee beans. Hints of sweet honey and oven-baked gingerbread greet the comforting nuances of freshly brewed morning coffee in this imperial milk stout. Skip the leftover cookies and milk and awaken your senses with this delightful holiday tradition.
I'm pretty stoked for you guys to try this. This is Really good.
Yeah, it was a gold medal beers with style specialty rate beer best 2015. So a classic. And we're starting off strong with a 9.2%.
That's why I gotta love Christmas, baby.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Then strong beers, those strong beers. Well, I have a holiday beer as well. This is local, kind of ish. New Belgium, actually out of Colorado, but they also have a brewery out in Asheville now. About an hour and 50 from where I live right now, hour 45. So this is New Belgium's holiday ale. Simply, their description is just simply flavors of cranberry and spice and everything nice. It is a 7.5% ABV made with pale malt, C80 malt, Munich malt, and chocolate malt. And I generally like stuff from New Belgium. I've never had this before.
And
so I decided to give
what was
it
it
a
called?
try.
I'm sorry.
It's the New Belgium's limited release, their holiday ale.
Oh, nice. I've seen that.
Yep.
Ooh.
Very cool. Love a good holiday ale. Ours at the brewery just came back. Dunder and Blixen, which I know.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Of a good holiday spiced ale.
My next to, not last time, but the first Christmas beer that I had, previous pod, had cranberry. So I got a bit of a theme going. Bit of a theme.
Cool.
Nice.
All right.
Shall we crack those guys?
Let's do it.
Ron and I are going to split it here, so start with this glass.
Oh, it's
it already smells like Christmas in here.
This one is pouring a kind of motor oil color with a nice dense foam head, and it
You dense foam head. That sounds like something Biff Tannen would say in Back to the
I can't
Future.
tell. I think I gave myself more. I can't tell. Is that right? Let's see here.
You dense foam head.
Oh, whoops.
Get your damn hands off my girl. That's as funny as a screen door at a battleship. It's a screen door in a submarine, you idiot.
All right, let's just make a Back to the Future pod after this.
Oh, please.
Oh, yeah.
I used to work at the ride, gents. I don't know if you knew that way back in the day. One of my first jobs at the old Universal, I worked the ride, and man, people come off that ride sicker than hell because those old school simulators be bouncing around. Oh man, they'd come off just puking in their own shirts, and it nasty, man. Some of the stuff we had to clean up.
And if you sat too far over one side or the other, it was a bad view.
Yeah,
too.
You would bash your head on this. I'll tell this one off, Mike. But we used to have fun with some cars in the air that made it look like we were hoverboarding to the screen, and it would freak out kids and stuff. But yeah, that was fun.
Amazing. Well, gents, before we raise these glasses of Christmas beer, I say we raise this as a toast to the recently departed Grant Wall. It passed away while he was, at the Argentina match. Very unexpected. You know, the news has come out as just normal. Normal. It was an aneurysm. Nothing that could be done. But I mean, you're the first American full-time soccer reporter, professional, like
one of the pioneers, and just legendary on how his passion and wanting to grow this game. He's, dating back to, Galaxy and the Beckham years, prior to that, and worked for Sports Illustrated and had recently started his own page subscription site, and just a wonderful advocate for the game, wonderful journalism, and just it sorely missed in the soccer community.
When the news popped out, I stopped looking at articles and I started looking at what people were saying online, and the amount of professional sports writers for soccer who were like, I met Grant at this time, this many years ago, whenever he helped me get started. Like the amount of mentorship he did, all the way to people who were like just recently graduating college or about to, who had the opportunity to, nervously meet him, and he reached out to them afterwards privately and helped. I mean, like, just sounds like just a an upstanding guy from top to bottom. So I will raise this glass for Mr. Grant Wall, gone way, way too soon, and a big loss for American coverage of soccer.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh, Nally.
Man, this beer is actually a little red. It's a little hard to see ish. This is good. The cranberry is prevalent, but not smacky in your face, but you definitely get it there. This is really tasty. It's not overdone and sweet.
This stout has a lot going on in it.
A lot of booze.
Yeah, you definitely taste the booze in it. There is a lot of coffee notes. There is chocolate notes in there. I even get a little bit of mint.
Smidge of mint.
Yeah, just the tiniest little bit of mint. And then...
Is it mint or is it peppermint?
I mean, is there a difference?
Oh, wait, is it peppermint in the thing? I mean, it could be.
Yeah, it's kind of what I'm tasting.
It's quite tasty, but the alcohol definitely takes over toward the end.
Yeah, the only thing I would say it lacks, and you're not going to get this in this style necessarily, but when I think of Christmas morning, we used to have real trees, so that pine smell, you know, that like tree smell.
Oh yeah.
You know, I think is something that kind of lacks. But with this style, you're not really going to get that kind of smell too much from it.
Yeah, I think that you'd probably be, if you were trying to do that, you'd have to do something like Blake's beer had last week that has...
the spruce in it?
Yeah, spruce tips.
Spruce tips, yep.
Type thing in there. But I think that would really kind of throw this beer for a loop.
Sideways, yeah.
I'm on... since I'm in a slightly cooler climate, Ferris, I took full advantage, and I have a real tree, and I also have real Christmas wreaths on the door when you come in. So you just get assaulted by pine as you come in. It's pretty awesome.
Ooh, yum!
I mean, there's needles all over the front door soon, but I don't care. It smells great when you come.
Oh yeah.
Man, this beer's good. I reckon I should pull up the content and actually jump us into this show.
Hell no, man. We just wing this each week.
We should, right. There's no content. We just fly with targeting computer off. Okay. Here we go. So to discuss the quarterfinals, we're just, for your edification, we're recording this December 14th. Since we all last got together, the quarterfinals last Friday, we were treated to a great start to the quarterfinal matches as the tournament favorites Brazil took on Croatia. This tactical battle between contrasting styles took us all the way to extra time of the first extra time half when Neymar put away a lovely finish after a beautiful bout of play from him. But if you thought that 105 minutes plus one goal would be enough, you would be wrong. Pekovic slotted one home in the 117th for Croatia. So on to pens we went. Brazil missed their first and fourth efforts, and Croatia made all four of theirs. So the cardiac kids of Croatia, the Croatian sensations, not only make it interesting, but they knock out the tournament favorites 4-2 on pens. I mean, that was pretty rad.
That was an incredible match.
Yeah.
Wild.
Extremely open at both ends throughout the match. And there was always this sense that Croatia was going to be able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, they were getting save after save from their keeper, Ivakovic, who was just absolutely stopping an immense amount of shots. There was 21 total shots from Brazil.
Yeah. 11 of those on target.
Yeah. So
just
that's
about half.
A lot of saves.
Or just over half.
Right. I mean, what was it? Tim Howard a few years back had 14 against Belgium, was it? I think that might still hold as the most saves in a World Cup.
But that match,
so he was pretty darn close.
That match was brought up a lot, though, in comparison.
Exactly. Yeah. And, when you look at Croatia and how tactically sound they are, how hard they work, and how they have that spirit of never giving up at all, you add that with a legend, and is going to be a legend of the game, in Modric and midfield who can himself, even at his age of 30, 6, 7, 8, however old he is, run as well as anybody else in midfield and has the tactical knowledge, the football knowledge, and the skill set to ping balls around and just control the game. He didn't necessarily control the game in this, but a lot of his passes helped to alleviate a lot of that pressure that was on them at times.
Yeah, they got their tactics spot on. What's really interesting is Brazil had the less possession, but they had more shots, whereas Croatia had more possession and less shots. But it always felt like Croatia was more in control than Brazil. And I was panicking for Brazil, not for Croatia, throughout most of the match, expecting that Brazil was going to end up taking this. It was always like they were in fifth gear and could never find sixth throughout the whole match.
And you almost had that sense when Neymar, it was a brilliant goal by him too. Absolutely brilliant. A goal worthy of winning a match at all, let alone in the 106th of the first half of extra time. But you kind of always thought after that, it's not quite over.
Right.
Like they might need 2 to get through this because you're not quite sure. And we'll talk about that today with even a semifinal that occurred where that second proved to be kind of the nail and they never got that.
Right.
And then Croatia comes down and puts one in the back of the net. And now that pressure never really switched because even 1-0 up, Brazil still had that pressure to see out the game and win. But now it switched completely because now it's like, it's 1-1 and now.
Yeah, and as soon as that goal went in, you knew this was going to penalties. I did not think it was there would be another goal at all at that point. There was no way.
The interesting thing, though, is the same thing that almost happened to the U.S. men actually happened to Brazil. Brazil could have closed this match out, but they had poor clock management and they were still going for a second goal. They had a turnover in Croatia's final third, and Croatia countered with the most classic 1-2 touch and go kind of counter and never stopped in stride, put the ball in the back of the net. It's Brazil's fault that they're gone.
Yeah.
The same thing almost happened to the U.S. men when Weah should have taken it to the corner. And we talked about that in a previous pod with Ferris's vehement shouting of take it to the
your back in your corner, put your butt in his and box him out. There's crotch. I don't remember what the hell I said, but I said something.
It was something like that.
We don't need to do it again.
That's true.
Okay, I have enough bleeps already.
Amazing. But I mean, this was fantastic. I mean, you can't ask for anything better in a World Cup. Obviously, Brazil's coming into this as favorites and looking from the start of the World Cup that they were going to absolutely be the favorites.
Until we got to the next match, though.
Yeah,
which outdid this match actually.
Wouldn't you know? In the second quarterfinal match on Friday, we got treated to an even better match between Messi's Argentina and Louis van Gaal's Netherlands. Oh, Louis van Gaal, I hope he's doing okay. Argentina seemed to have it in the bag following a Messi penalty in the 73rd, which put his country up 2-0. But on came the big boys from Van Gaal, and 10 minutes later, fresh sub Weghorst, say that right?
Weghorst.
Got one back for the Dutch. Then in the 90 plus 11 minute, when there was only supposed to be 90 and 12 or 12 extra minutes, a set piece masterpiece derived from the training pitch was once again put away by the sub Weghorst to make it 2-2. So on extra time we go, and eventually penalties. The Dutch got their first 2 saved by Martinez, but it was all over from there as Argentina put 4 away to advance to the South American Giants on the semis. And boy, what a tense, I mean, every penalty shootout is, but them missing those first two very quick. Oh man, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah. And let's be honest, not to take away from Martinez, because he did save him, but those were
terrible pens.
Two horrible penalties.
Yes, two terrible
They
pens.
were slow of pace, and they were put about 2 feet off the ground, right where it was easy for a diving keeper to make the save. Horrible pens. And the first one, Virgil van Dijk, who should know better, in my opinion.
Yeah, and
He's been
usually
around
center
forever.
backs are quite good penalty takers because they don't think much about it. They don't do any of those little stutter step, run up, pause, jump step, hop kick,
spin around,
do-si-do, and then hit the ball. They just get up, they just flash it, sorry, Ron, and just nail it into the back of the net. And he didn't really do that. And we just talked about, what Brazil needed was that second goal. Well, Argentina got it. They got it on a penalty. They were up 2-0. They were cruising. And then Van Gaal switches to like a very Sam Allardyce-esque tactic, right? Yeah. Huff on the big boys.
Right.
And it worked. They pegged balls in, and that first goal in the 83rd was a lovely cross, and Wakehorse, I believe, is like 6'4", 6'5", just got his big head on it and just kind of just flicked it home on his head, and there you're off. And you're going, no, they can't possibly come back. Can they? And then it goes all the way into what should have, what was about to be the end of the game, not should have been, but 100th minute, a set piece that if you have not seen it, find it. Go see it. It is literally one that I've done in FIFA before because you can catch somebody off guard, but you don't actually think it ever really works in real life. So it was just outside. It was like the perfect spot to where you should just hit it and just curl it in.
It's like right above the arc.
Right above the arc, exactly. Right? And then what it was Argentina had their wall. They had some guy laying down on the ground, and then the Dutch had their wall. And you kind of see what not Timmy Weah, what Haji Wright should have done. Put it in this dude's crotch, box this guy out. The ball kind of got through ball slotted to him, who was a Wakehorse again, and just slotted it home. And you're going, how? No, they did not just get Argentina with that, right?
Yep.
And they sure as hell did. And you're like, oh my gosh, this could be how Argentina go out. They were up 2-0 and now tied 2-2 until it got to pens. And then those very bad pens happened.
Wow. But how thrilling. Oh,
it was wild.
Just how thrilling.
Wild.
One of my favorite matches of the entire tournament so far.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah, well, and coming off, another fantastic match that had been played just prior, but it doesn't stop there. This could have been some of the best quarterfinals we've had. Yeah,
and just a real quick note before we move on for that. That was Grant Wall's last match that he watched. He was there for. That's the match he was covering.
Yes.
That's a hell of a final match to see.
Yeah, that's so wild to me too, because I mean, we didn't get too much into it too, but there was a lot of a messy attitude floating around in this match,
especially at the end.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Him and Van Gaal going back and forth. There was a kick. There was a kick the ball at the bench of the Dutch that didn't hit anybody, but hit the seat, and then Van Dijk comes in and just chest bumps somebody to the ground, and it was starting to get feisty.
I just think Messi's always been nice because he's like this competition with Ronaldo, and now everyone knows Ronaldo is an A-grade a-hole. He's like, you know what? Let me get a little passionate. I'll never look as bad as this D-bag who gets out.
Exactly. Yes, if this was Ronaldo, he would have been the villain. We would have been everybody. But because it's Messi, oh, he's cute. He never gets this way. It's complete double standard.
If it was Ronaldo, it's not a double standard. He would have just left.
Hey, don't get in it. Just don't. If you don't have something nice, don't say anything at all, and just walk away.
Oh
That's
my
an
God.
upstanding citizen right there. But no, little cute. You know, Messi's in the ref's ear. Messi's this. He's saying the refs are bad. Van Gaal, you can't play with us, and all of this. And you're like, oh my gosh, oh that's cute. He's so passionate for his team. Where if that was Ronaldo, he's a big asshole. What is he doing? Blah 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 blah. I'm sorry, Ron. Ron's going to the sheet every day. How'd you get me fired up on this topic?
Bleep sheet is filled up. I couldn't believe you didn't mention it, so I had to throw it out there.
I'm gonna save my comments for the
Semifinal match.
the preview for the final.
I'm giving Ferris the messy ears right now. It was like his WWE moment when he put his ears behind. And then when someone photoshopped in him doing that to Ronaldo sitting on the bench. Oh my God, it was made.
Speaking of
oh, jeez. Well, on to some more quarterfinals. On Saturday, the other two quarterfinal matches were played, and first up, it was African side Morocco taking on Ronaldo and Portugal. Despite the many total shots and big chances from both clubs, this game was like just all on. It was the lone Moroccan goal scored in the 46th minute by way of Ronaldo-esque. Did I say that right?
Right.
Ronaldo.
There's not a D in there.
Ronaldo-esque.
Oh. I was like, what did you write there? I got you. Let's rewind that. It was the lone Moroccan goal scored in the 46th minute by way of a Ronaldo-esque jumping header by Youssef N'Nesyri, which was the decider in this one. So Morocco not only becomes the first African side to make it to the semifinals in the World Cup, which was huge, they also knock out another powerhouse in Portugal, along with their Cinderella trip journey in the tournament. And to this point, not a single goal had been scored against them.
No. It should also be said that Youssef actually scored that header. The ball did make contact with his head.
It's true.
It's true. It was not Ronaldo-esque in that
This
respect.
was one of how high he jumped, the way he scored it. There would have been those, you know, if this was Ronaldo that scored that, you would have seen those, you know, like the streets where they have a cutout, and then they kind of tape the ball to the top and see if you know everybody on the street can kind of hit it with their heads. That would have been done with this, but because this is not as well known of a player, it wasn't. But the jump was immaculately timed, and it just seemed like he just floated in the air for a second, just kind of hung there. And yeah, Blake, you're right. They hadn't had a goal. They hadn't had a goal scored, and then we'll get to that in the semifinal. Other than that, than an own goal. They were defending. They have been defending so extremely well that what they did is they did what Jose Mourinho has wet dreams about, and how they countered the lethalness on how they countered to button up, get that one or two goals to frustrate the opponent, play your way, defend well. It's this Moroccan side to be the first African country to get as far as they have in the World Cup has been not just they got lucky here, they got a little lucky here. No, they hadn't given up a goal to this point. And they beat Spain along the way. You scored what, 7 earlier?
Yeah. And let's not forget like how they did it, Ferris. The man responsible. Their coach.
Yeah.
Which I may butcher this, but Regargui?
Yeah, he's only been there for what, like 6 months?
Yeah.
Only been there for 6 months, but do you know who's even more responsible for how well he did? The man who taught him. Because not that long ago, he sat in on a tactical seminar by Arsenal's coach, Mikel Arteta, and learned a lot of stuff.
Wow, there's a leap.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Jeez.
He came to Arteta's tactical seminar, and look at what he managed to pull off. So he took some good notes. He trusted the process.
Oh, wow.
You're telling me that he looked. So Arteta was like, "Hey, get Saliba to score an own goal, and you'll be fine." And that's how they scored their goal in this.
Make sure most of your players land on the floor and roll around, cry, headlocks. You know,
let's trip people. Let's pull people. See if the ref doesn't care. Let's pick out at people, not get carded.
I'm just saying, 1 year on from taking that class, he finds himself in the World Cup semifinal.
What class? Is this the same class that Gerg Berhalter spoke at that was behind closed doors? That
No, he wasn't in this one. This was a tactics seminar by him.
Is it one of those like paid like master classes that you can sit, on your couch in your underwear and do while somebody talks on the screen for a bit?
Hey, man.
I think he made that up.
I didn't. I did not make that up. Let's send you the link right now. I saw it today. I was like, I'm totally going to bring this up.
Well, regardless of the tactical input, it was quite an amazing feat against a Portugal side who had 74% of the possession. Yeah. And they just locked it down, parked the bus, and made great counters. And you know what's interesting? Honestly, this Moroccan side probably could have put 3 past Portugal.
Yeah.
They really deserved those other 2, but dragged one off the post. Put one off the post and dragged one just wide. So it really could have been 3-0 Morocco over Portugal, but just a masterclass in parking the bus and defending well.
See it there? There you go, Ferris. There's your article. Just you read it afterwards. It's fine. I just wanted to make sure you knew what was up.
There you go. It's right here.
And now we'll move on to the other final quarterfinal of the match. Sorry, geez, I can't read. Finally, the final quarterfinals match. That's just a hard sentence. Between soccer powerhouses England and France. It certainly did not disappoint. And while we did not make it to extra time and penalties, we did get treated to what was a wonderfully fun match filled with penalties, lovely goals, refereeing decisions, and even what would eventually be the game winner off the beautifully sculpted and gelled moss head of the one and only lumbersexual Olivier Giroud. Although England played wonderfully and won pretty much every statistical category, they were just not as clinical on the day as France. And once again, penalties linger over England as Kane missed his second penalty attempt of the day. There are so many funny memes online about it. There's one with like a Santa Claus sleigh that's crashed. That's like, I just got hit in the head by a football. That penalty would have tied it at 2-2. But at the end of the day, you can take the lad out of the Spurs, but not the Spurs out of the lad. And ultimately, it was France.
You can't go there. You can't go there.
Despite the
now with Saka last year in the Euros, no, you can't go there.
Hey, man, he didn't sky it. But ultimately, it was France who, despite the many injuries, advanced to yet another semifinal. Saka was 18. How long has Kane been doing this?
Okay, but hold on. A penalty miss is kind of part of the game. And a lot of people are going, well, he shouldn't have taken the second penalty because he took the first and buried it, and he's playing against his club keeper and Lloris, and all of that's a bunch of He, in the time he's been playing for England, has taken, I don't know the exact number, but the more important number, he's only missed 4 out of the dozens and dozens that he's taken while in England duty. For the Premier League, the dozens and dozens that he's taken, he's only missed 4. His penalty taking and where he puts it and how hard he strikes that ball gives him one of the best conversion rates in terms of amount taken to amount missed that is out there. So he did a wonderful interview afterwards where he said, I'm going to paraphrase here, but I don't fault my preparation. I don't fault my mindset and attitude going into that. No, playing against Lloris had nothing to do with that. Essentially, it happens. It's a part of the game. You just miss these from time to time, and this just happened to be a miss that would have tied it. It would have changed the game, and he hit the first that did change the game and made it 1-1. But his old nemesis is much better looking than Kane is what actually ended the game to make it 2-1. Olivier Giroud.
So Harry Kane has taken 21 total spot kicks for England, scoring 17 of them. That is an 84.3% conversion rate. And
go ahead.
I was talking to a friend of mine who is works with me, and he's from the UK, and we were both just kind of flabbergasted because most of the time Harry Kane steps up to that kick and it's a Money in the Bank. So to see that, kind of go into orbit was just, I mean,
his conversion rate is better than Shaq's free throw. It's a free shot.
Yeah, but
at least you have somebody at least trying to stop it.
Don't compare him to Shaq. That's terrible. Like Shaq is a terrible player. He just stood under the basket waiting for someone to throw him the ball.
I mean, you haven't disproven my statement. I stand by
Which is
it.
what?
You can
What is
take
your
the
statement?
lad out of the Spurs, but not the Spurs out of the lad. No trophy for you. Go home.
I just don't know how you can sit there and say that when Saka missed one in the finals.
Why is there a comparison, though? Why are you comparing?
Well, why
are you comparing?
It has nothing to do with Harry Kane being a Spurs player or not.
He's saying that the Spurs luck of them choking at the last minute.
It's England's
follows
penalty
it.
luck. It has nothing to do. Like, you look at what England's penalty woes have been over since 1966.
I think you're
essentially.
taking it a little seriously.
A little bit.
All I know is 100% of that miss gave us that glorious meme of Mbappe laughing that I just sent you guys as he was laughing when that penalty kick got missed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw that picture.
Is he wearing a France jersey there?
Yeah. It's just cut off.
Oh.
Because he's leaned over.
It's just cut off.
Looks black.
That's extremely dark blue.
Extreme. England were the better team on the day.
Yeah.
Absolutely were. France made the most of their chances. And amongst all of this, somebody that wasn't talked about too heavily, but should have been the man of the match, Antoine Griezmann had himself an absolutely wonderful day. All over the pitch, playing in that like center midfield. 2 assists on the day. Just he played absolutely out of his mind, and he should have been the man of the match for this, and he's a big part as to why France are moving on to the semis.
Since we're drinking Christmas beers, can I just say that every time someone says Antoine Griezmann, I just think of Christmas Vacation where they're like Griswold, Greaseball, Grizzle. Every time.
Just put it over there with the others, greaseball.
Yeah, every time. All right, gents, shall we move on to the drama?
Yes.
All right.
US drama.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. I was going to say Gerg Berhalter versus Gio Reyna. Ding, 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 ding.
Round 1. In the first corner. What was it that Gerg Berhalter actually said? Well, I'm going to read some excerpts from a wonderful article from NBCSanDiego.com, where it kind of goes through a timeline of this and who said what and whatnot in the post and yada, 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 which we'll get into in a second. But on Tuesday, essentially, while speaking at a HOW Institute for Society Summit on Moral Leadership in New York, Berhalter spoke about a player that was, quote, clearly not meeting expectations on and off the field, end quote, at the World Cup. He went on to say that he and his staff deliberated for hours on how to handle the situation, even seriously considering sending the player home before deciding to have one more conversation with the player to reestablish expectations. Berhalter said that one of the stipulations of the player was to apologize to the entire team, and was quoted as saying at the summit, "Go deeper than just, guys, I'm sorry." So, not just saying I'm sorry, but going into sorry, I'm because of my attitude or blah, 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 blah. Berhalter continued by saying that in response to the player's apology, the rest of the team took ownership of the process and demanded change going forward. He went on to say, and quote, "And from the day on there were no issues with this player," he said. Berhalter concluded this portion of his talk by saying that it's never easy to send a player home and that he knows it would have been a massive controversy throughout the remainder of the tournament, but he was prepared to do it. So it was kind of, well, how did these comments come out? Because at this summit, there is essentially, all comments are explicitly off the record for coming out or for going to print or anything along those lines. That's something that a U.S. soccer spokesman kind of said, was that they shouldn't have gone out. Well, nonetheless, he still said it, right? So this all kind of broke on Monday of this week. I think it was, right? Yeah. We're on Wednesday. Yeah. So this was last Tuesday when he said this. Which then, what was it, yesterday? That's kind of spurred a response from Gio that in nowadays world, gentlemen, how do you make a response? Or do you put out a news bulletin? Do you send out an email to the press?
You put it on your Instagram or your Twitter.
Of course you do. Of course you do. You put
usually
it on your
you even like type it in your Apple Notes app and then take a screenshot of that and put it out.
Right?
Usually what happens.
Very true. So his comments, I'm going to read straight from the Instagram post. He said, I hope not to comment on matters at the World Cup. It was my belief that things that happen in a team setting ought to remain private. That being said, statements have been made that reflect on my professionalism and character, so I feel the need to make a brief statement. Gio went on to say in his post, just before the World Cup, Coach Berhalter told me that my role at the tournament would be very limited. I was devastated. I am someone who plays with pride and passion. Soccer is my life, and I believe in my abilities. I fully expect and desperately wanted to contribute to the play of a talented group as we tried to make a statement at the World Cup. I'm also a very emotional person and fully acknowledge that I let my emotions get the best of me and affect my training behavior for a few days after learning about my limited role. I apologized to my teammates and coach for this and was told I was forgiven. Thereafter, I shook off my disappointment and gave everything I had on and off the field. The last bit of a statement read, I am disappointed that there is continuing coverage of this matter, and in parentheses, as well as some highly fictionalized versions of events, and extremely surprised that anyone on the U.S. men's team staff would contribute to it. Coach Berhalter has always said that issues that arise with the team will stay, quote, in-house, so we can focus on the team unity and progress. I love my team. I love representing my country, and I'm focusing now only on improving and growing as a soccer player in person. I hope that going forward, each person involved in U.S. soccer focuses only on what is in the best interest of the men's national team so we can enjoy great success at the World Cup in 2026. So, gents, what do you kind of think of this whole back and forth of words, not words, shouldn't have been said? How did it get out there? Now I have to respond because it was out there.
I think what Gio says is he absolutely admits to being completely unfavorable to work with in this process, because he certainly doesn't. He leans into apologizing for his behavior even in that statement. I mean, I know it's technically a hit back out at Berhalter to say, like, I wish this would stay private, but he does not deny that he was quite difficult. So I think he was quite difficult.
He's also
at the end of the day
years old.
Well, at the end of the day, I think Berhalter's just gone because this just kind of shows poor judgment for keeping the team together, even though it's supposed to be off the record. I mean, come on. Like, it's you have to know, like, something like this is going to come out, and it just, I think, shows a bit of lack of judgment. That if I were to be deciding to renew the contract, I'd be like, I think thanks for where we got to. We can find someone else to keep a culture or build on the culture you started here and try to improve things.
Yeah, and I think a week or two after not being knocked out of the tournament isn't really a time to share your experiences from that tournament. Save it for a book down the road. Save it for your your autobiography of Gerg Berhalter. Wait a year or two till you're out of the role, or you're officially out of the role. If you are. Yeah, Blake, I agree. a bit better judgment from somebody of his stature, his age, and what he's done for the U.S. and how he's kind of had to been an advocate for certain things and a lot of things that we talked about on the last pod to go into the summit and know that, you know, it's being said that at this summit, everything stays here and it's not for public consumption or to be put in print and so on and so forth. But take a step back from that scenario. You're telling me you can't name any other, personal, moral things that you've had to deal with players that didn't involve the most recent of stuff that was so highly covered as to why you didn't play Gio. And that was one of the big questions coming out of this.
Well, you don't know what else was said. He may have already said that stuff, but only this makes the headlines.
True.
So you can't say
true.
That's a bad statement on your part, I think.
Right. But why include that into whatever he was talking about? Why?
Because it's a leadership training course.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Right. But you can use other examples than something that was so heavily covered.
Maybe he did.
And well, I'm sure he did, but what I'm saying is don't include that.
Why?
Because of this.
Because this is
going to cost him a job.
I don't think so. Here's why.
Ron, do you butternut squash on it?
let me mull it over. I'll honestly mull that over.
He's feeling okay.
I'll
butternut squash beer bet on it. All right, maybe
I'll mull that over.
Okay.
But here's why I disagree with you, fine gentlemen. First, this stuff always comes out. No matter who says it, a player being a jerk in training camp or hard to work with or whatever always comes out. So, one, don't give anyone any reason to be upset with you so that nothing comes out. That's the first thing. Be good to work with, even though you're disappointed. You're supposed to be a professional. Don't throw a temper tantrum and flip your shin guards around and all that. Okay, so that's point one. Point two, he's at a leadership conference on a very topical discussion about team management and leadership at the highest level, which is the World Cup. So this kind of thing is not uncommon in every type of job in the entire world. Gentlemen, we have all worked for corporate America, and these types of leadership courses, they are constantly asking you things like, can you share with the group something that was difficult in leading a team member and maybe how you handled it? And that's what he did. We have all done that. He did not name the player outright. He didn't come out and say, this person was terrible. This person was absolutely hard to work with, and he should never play for soccer, the U.S. men's national team ever again. Nope. He said, this was the problem. This is how we dealt with it. And this is why I'm proud of the staff and the players for how they handled it. He didn't name the player. Right? He's also at a conference where no one is supposed to be reporting this, right? So think about all of us at leadership meetings who are talking about team members that we maybe had to fire or put on personal improvement plans or whatever. If those things got out, then those things got out. But the fact of the matter is, this is a normal everyday occurrence. It's only being sensationalized because it's U.S. soccer and we just came out of the World Cup. This is not Gerg Berhalter's fault. He went to a leadership conference, discussed a time that he had problems with a player, didn't name the player, thought he was off the record because he's supposed to be. There's nothing he did wrong. So I think if he is vilified for this and or fired or not rehired because of this, then he didn't want to work for us in U.S. soccer anymore anyway. Because if your employer is going to sell you out like that, screw your employer. He didn't do anything wrong. So
I think he did because it's so obvious who he was talking about. He did name him.
No, he didn't. He did not say Gio Reyna was blah, blah, blah.
But he didn't have to. It was like everybody was like, "Oh, well, this is who it is." Like it's obvious by admission who didn't play.
I don't disagree. That he shouldn't have shared this. The timing of sharing it for me is what I think I probably have the biggest problem with. It's still a hot topic. The World Cup's still going on. It's not like it's February of next year. I just think, in all of those things that we have been in, you go through kind of the Rolodex of situations that match with whatever you're being asked, and you go, "Ooh, I don't know if I want that one's probably not. I'm not going to share that one because of X, Y, and Z." And my thought is, well, that Rolodex should have turned from him and gone, that's a really hot topic right now. I should probably save that for a different time. I got this example I can give. Who knows? But he still said so many things that, to Blake's point, you knew exactly who he was talking about.
But he didn't name the player.
And that somehow...
It doesn't matter.
Right.
He didn't name the player. He didn't come out and go, Gio Reyna was absolutely terrible. Then I think you guys would be more correct in your statement than I feel you are. But he kept it professional and said, we had a player and had these issues.
Well, there's only 20 of them on there. There's not a whole lot of like...
But still,
it's so easy to figure out who it is.
But
everyone did.
You don't know that's why he didn't say the name. Like, oh, you'll be able to figure it out.
Well,
he was being professional,
and Gio Reyna came out with a full response. So everybody
but that's
knew what
Gio
it was.
Reyna's fault.
Well, but everybody knew it prior to him even having a response. They knew exactly what he was talking about.
It's not Berhalter's fault. Sorry. We have all done this exact same thing in leadership meetings, all of us, for corporate America, when we're having issues with team members and we're trying to coach other leaders or upcoming leaders into how these things have been dealt with. So I'm sorry. I can't get behind everybody who's trying to vilify Berhalter for doing some taboo thing that he didn't actually do.
What was it? Squash, butternuts, beer.
Butternut beer. I mean, like when he says in the last World Cup, we had a player that was clearly not meeting expectations on and off the field. One of 26 players, so it stood out. We were ready to book a plane ticket home for the player. I think it's so obvious who he's talking about.
You're saying that now because you've read so much stuff after it.
But everybody else figured it out.
Those who put this out knew it then. That's what. They knew it at the conference. It wasn't like it wasn't after like Reyna came out and responded. It was like, oh, that's who it was. They all knew it prior to that, and that's why it got leaked, because it was such that hot topic. Because all these articles, this is going to cause what the media loves to cause, and that controversy, that news headline, that clickbait, all of that.
So what? So if they could put it together on their own, who cares? We do that a million times a year with NBA players, NHL players. NFL is one of the worst ones for it. When this player was in the locker room having a temper tantrum because he missed a pass, or the quarterback is having a temper tantrum because his players won't play. This is nothing new. There's absolutely nothing new. If you're a dick and you're on a team, it comes out, whether they name you specifically or not.
Okay, so to kind of button this up, is there any chance Gerg Berhalter remains U.S. men's national team manager after however these comments came out, after the post, after however we think that this went down? Does he, he's up for a contract extension, right? Or talks or whatnot.
Yeah.
Does he stay employed after those contract talks occur?
No way. No way.
I don't think so.
The players won't trust him. They'll be scared the players won't trust him. Yeah. It's a trust thing.
Well, I think if he's not, it's not because of this. I think if he's not, they were already, both sides were still trying to figure out if they were going to or not anyway. So in my opinion, I think U.S. soccer should not take this into account because none of this is actually wrongdoing on Berhalter's part.
Yeah, I don't fully disagree with you, but for me, it's like that car is about to fall off the cliff, and that smallest of birds lands on the hood, and the car falls off the cliff. That's this like smallest of birds like landing and going up. That's the final kind of.
But also, you're never going to know. It's not like U.S. Soccer is going to come out and say, because of the comments made, we're not rehiring him.
Correct.
U.S. Soccer is either just going to let him.
They're going to thank him for his time. He did a wonderful job.
Exactly.
Time to move on. We're going to grow the so on and so forth.
I'm just saying, when everyone says, wow, we had some good defense in midfield, but we can't score, and you don't play your best scorer and you get knocked out, don't talk, even if it's anonymous crap about him 2 weeks later. The timing is absolutely atrocious. I think you got to be smarter than that.
And also, we're talking, Greg. There's a lot that Gio needs to learn from this as well, and it's a part of being as young as he is and kind of going through this and learning this. And there's a lot of reports saying that DeAndre Yedlin and Aaron Long kind of veterans of the team had to pull him aside at times and kind of say, hey, you need to work through this. You need to get through this. You need to not let that affect. So there's plenty of blame to go around with whatever. But gents, don't we feel like a proper soccer? Like we got like a New York Post headline, like as good as like the Mirror over in England. Like we got some scandalous stuff happening, some riffs. This feels like a proper American soccer story here.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah. So to answer the last portion of this, here's why I'm not taking the bet. I'm not taking the bet because we won't ever actually know why he was not allowed.
You almost had him, Blake. You almost had him.
That's not the bet, is knowing why. The bet's just, does he stay?
Well, I wasn't going to make that bet regardless because there's so much up in the air. So I wouldn't have taken that bet anyway.
The tea has been spilt and Ron is not picking it up.
Because I'm smart.
Yeah. And yet we're the only two assholes on the pod that have drank some beer, me more so than other because I can't keep my damn mouth shut.
I annoyingly brought some of that. It was with us. And I went, why did I? Oh, God, that should have just not made it in the move. I think my wife did that on purpose because she made sure there was still some butternut here in case a bet happened.
That's
I'm pretty sure.
Hey, before we go on to the semis, we should crack our second.
We also, Blake has to enlighten us and take us on a journey.
But don't build it up too much. It's just something we were actually pretty good about not doing this World Cup. So I'm going to officially do it as we step through the veil into the Premier League Vortex.
We already did that.
We did pretty good and didn't get too.
The comments about Kane, the whole we already did that.
Hey man, that's a joke. I'm sorry, that's just funny.
All right.
No, actual Premier League news. A Spurs player screwing something up and not getting a trophy. That's just every day.
That's true.
That's just a Saturday.
That's an everyday occurrence. Does this have to do with what we're currently wearing?
I thought this is why you were also wearing a kit, Ferris, as Bournemouth Takeover is official. American businessman Bill Foley's consortium completes the purchase with over £100 million of AFC Bournemouth. That's the Las Vegas-based businessman Bill Foley. He's the guy that has the Las Vegas Knights, the Black Knights, Black Knight
Golden Knights
FC, but the Golden Knight. It's the partnership, but he's got the Golden Knights hockey team out in Vegas, and then and as it says down here, you have the minority ownership group is led by award-winning actor, director, producer Michael B. Jordan.
How cool is that, man?
How freaking rad! You talk about in administration in the lower of lowest leagues in England.
Have been
somehow fight their way into the Premier League, stay for a very long time.
Edward Howe was there, manager for a long time.
Gets back into the Premier League now. Struggles at the beginning of this season. Fires their manager, new guys doing well, and now this little quote unquote little club, and that's no offense to the Cherries. I like their story, and now they're purchased by this large group that wants to expand Vitality Stadium and invest in the area, training and every fields, new training facilities, everything. Like, this is amazing for Bournemouth. This is huge.
I mean, Ryan Reynolds and what's the other guy?
Rob McElhenney.
Yeah, they kind of got the whole celebrity ownership going, which actually kind of came here from the States, right? With Will Ferrell and Nomar Garcia-Pera and so on and so forth owning LAFC. This makes me excited, gents.
All right.
Exactly.
In Austin.
When is Robert De Niro and Al Pacino going to buy Manchester United?
True, but now the main guy is a dude who owns some sports club.
True.
Like the main.
That's small facts. That's small things.
I mean, it's crazy how much the American Hollywood is starting to take over.
Starting to love the passion, the game.
Yeah, I mean the Los Angeles Wave. Angel City, right? Yep. Angel City FC. The ownership group of that is made up like Natalie Portman. And, like a
Ron. This is the Premier League Vortex.
Sorry,
and you
my bad.
veered off of that.
My apologies.
We have to have a different sound effect for the MLS.
We got an MLS and NWSL like Vortex sound. That's totally
Welcome
MLS.
to America Soccer.
That is totally MLS. It's not
MLS
NWSL.
and NWSL.
That's absolutely right. That's a good call. But this is, I mean, think about it. If you think of the history and story of Bournemouth, this is amazing.
And we're wearing for all you out there, all three of us actually. The first year Bournemouth came up, what is it? 2017, 18,
15,
16?
Yeah,
somewhere in there.
Yeah, we all got kits of the cherries.
Yeah, straight from Bournemouth Club too. Lovely.
Yeah, I remember because they got promoted and I couldn't figure out. I was trying to order the kits online and it wouldn't work because they wanted a postal code that doesn't match with ours. There wasn't like an international form. And I called and had to leave a message. And this nice bloke who's the dude that works the merch shop in Vitality Stadium calls me back and is astounded that we're calling and asking for kits.
Yeah.
Like our orders were very early on in the American love affair of Bournemouth. And it just was funny. And just think, here's this guy. And he's like, all right, I'll go, let me go up to the wall. I'll grab one off the wall for you, And I'm like, if I do this, will it get sent to me? And just amazing. And now to like have this happen, it's just huge. It'll be great for the area. And I think really great for the club. It's just really awesome.
If you haven't really listened to a bunch of our pods, and the history of AFC Bournemouth on a few different episodes. Really quick, they are a football club based in Kings Park, Boscombe, which is a suburb of Bournemouth, which is in Dorset, England. And the team was founded in 1899. So
great year.
They have a
Woodstock. I don't know if they're doing Woodstock back then.
I don't think so.
But they have a rich and awesome history.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And almost faded into nothingness not that long ago. And so this is just crazy. This is just crazy. So up the cherries. And now we step out of the Premier League Vortex. I got to get like an angel-like voiceover for that goes in.
That's great.
All right. Burning into the semifinals.
Hold on. We're going to do a quick second beer.
Real quick.
Sorry. Right.
The second beer from Hardywood is our Gingerbread Stout. It's an imperial milk stout with ginger and honey.
I think you're going to like this one more. I mean, I think the other one's good, but I think you're going to like this one more.
On their website, it says made with baby ginger from Castlemont Farm and wildflower honey from Bearer Farms. Hardywood Gingerbread Stout captures the I've never seen this word before. Terroir, Terroir.
Terroir.
Say that again because I'm looking it up.
Terroir.
Terroir. The complete natural environment in which a particular wine is produced, including factors such as the soil, topography, and climate.
I thought it was a special lingerie line that Victoria's Secret sells.
So it's picking up something from the environment. There you go.
So it captures the environment or the terroir of Central Virginia in a rich, creamy libation with a velvety mouthfeel and an intriguing evolution of notes from milk, chocolate, vanilla to honeycomb, cinnamon, and a snap of ginger in the finish. We hope Hardywood Gingerbread Stout contributes to your merriment this season. It is an Imperial Milk Stout at 9.2 ABV and a whole 55 on the IBUs if you're following at home. Let's crack this bad boy.
It's going to make you just want to like have Christmas morning immediately.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
It's a great Christmas morning beer. It's very good. I cannot recommend it enough.
A little less head than the previous pour of the Christmas morning stout. But this one is similar in the respect that it's, typical of stouts, a really dark, motor oily kind of color and a rich brown head to it. Ooh, that one smells really good. Cheers.
Sláinte.
Well, zippity doodah, that's freaking good.
That
Right?
is good. Man.
Oh, wow, that's good.
Like you just want to sit by a Christmas tree with like paper wrappings shredded up all around you from that have been opened and like that. It's perfect.
A little bit of
Fire
snow
going.
outside and a fire.
Go out
Yeah.
back having a cigar.
Gents, do you know what I did this morning at work?
What did you do?
I slipped on ice walking into
Attaboy.
my office. I was like, woof, I haven't done that in a while.
Sorry, you said slipped on ice?
Ice, yep.
Wow.
Saka does it every game for Arsenal. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Hey.
Oh, this is a good beer.
This is a good beer.
Yeah, told you you'd like that one.
They're not
All
wrong.
right, move.
Vanilla up front, ginger in the back, a little bit of
Love
chocolate.
That ginger is just,
Oh.
it smells, it tastes beautiful.
Okay,
It's
sorry, Blake.
It's Christmas, man. Yeah. So on to this week's semifinal matches. Yesterday, Lionel Messi and Argentina took on that team who had taken on that team Croatia that just doesn't seem to quite go away. Was back and forth action for a lot of the first half until a contentious penalty awarded for Argentina when Croatia keeper Livakovic, there we go, collided with Julian Alvarez after he got shot away in the box. A call that is not called a whole lot in the games was called an upstep Messi, who's left no doubt in his strike as he rocketed the ball into the back of the net. As momentum began to favor the Argentine, it took 5 minutes later for a deadly counter off a corner to put away from a weaving long run by Julian Alvarez, who poked it home just 6 minutes from half. Croatia made some changes at half to get on some more attacking options, but ultimately proved non-lethal. And at the 69th minute, after a lovely move and pass from baseline from Messi, the deft pass into the center of the box was put away by none other than Julian Alvarez for his second of the day. While the hopes of winning the World Cup by one legend of the game, Luka Modric, came to an end, it's the hopes of another legend of the game in Lionel Messi, whose Argentine side will play yet another World Cup final. What'd you guys think? I mean, that was a penalty, right? I mean,
Dude, no way.
you don't think?
No way. It's rarely ever called. It was weird. He came out, the shot got away, and then they collided after the fact. There was no way anybody was making a play on it. He wasn't making a play on it. The ball was going wide. It never gets called, and it was. Now, we had a text chain going a few days ago where I made the point that so much of the game, and especially in these World Cups, hinges off of moments and inches. And this game is what changed that tide and propelled Argentina forward, right? A moment of this penalty. Should it be called? Should it not be called? It was ultimately called. Boom. Then the inches of that Julian Alvarez run 6 minutes before half that added that second, that kind of demoralizing, right? Not right at half, but that momentum shift where they just countered and Messi played a beautiful ball to Alvarez, essentially in his own half, and Alvarez kind of wove through, but the ball was toe poked away from him twice on that run and bounced perfectly back to him, almost like it was a string on his boot, right? And then poked it home. Matter of inches, that ball gets poked one way or the other, it's not going to occur. And that forced Croatia to make some subs, which they had to kind of go light at the back in order to get more going forward to try to get those 2 goals back. And that ultimately kind of wore them down. And then that's when Argentina added the third. So just moments and inches in a majority of these games that we've gone over throughout the World Cup play such a huge factor.
Yeah, that was kind of one of those things that specific goal you're talking about was one of those things where those really good teams that are playing well and pouring it on, things seem to go their way, right? This was the luckiest of bounces. At one point, the play was off of a Croatian player, and it bounces back to the Argentinian who toe pokes it home on the last touch there. But that ball bounced around so much before then, split so many defenders. It's just crazy. And that penalty was not a penalty, in my opinion.
Was it a foul?
No.
Would it have been a foul?
I don't think so. Because the player is running at the keeper and tries to chip the keeper. But the keeper is close enough to try and make a save, which is what he is supposed to do. So he goes to make the save, and then the offending player, the offensive player, runs into the keeper. The keeper doesn't run into the offensive player. So I don't think you can say that the keeper missed the ball and collided and took out the offensive player who would have had another chance at the ball. The ball was already shot. So he was trying to make a save, and then the offensive player, the Argentinian, ran into the keeper. That's not a foul. What was he supposed to do? Not make an attempt to save the ball? What was the keeper supposed to do in that instance then? So, no, it's not a foul.
I don't know. Gary Neville thinks it's not a foul, so it makes me think it is a foul. I think we can all agree on that.
God, Blake. I knew you were going to find somebody to be like, this person, Graham Poll says that this didn't happen. Shut up.
Well, I tried to find our dude that we usually go to.
Yeah,
for
I'm pretty sure it's Graham Poll, right? No,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we've talked about this on the pod several times. I will always be team Ronaldo, but what Messi has done in this tournament, yeah, he scored a few pens, but he's also scored some wonderful in-play goals that have really pushed his team forward. This is probably the best chance he has at winning a World Cup because it's the best team he's had. They got defense, they got other attackers, they have a great midfield that protects that defense and allows him to play his game, which then gets in the Alvarez's. We haven't seen too much of Di Maria quite yet, but we'll talk about their chances here coming up. But it has really been a tough Argentina side, and Messi by far has carried the torch for what is an entire nation, it seems like.
With the exception of that initial loss to Saudi Arabia, that everyone thought it was just over. Which could have been the best thing that happened to them. It's like it slapped them in the face, and they could
have got out against the Dutch, but it kind of has that feeling like who knows.
Shall I move on to the next match? Why not? As we go to our Cinderella story. A few hours ago, from us recording this, the Cinderella story of the World Cup, Morocco took on the defending World Cup champions in France. Throughout the tournament, Morocco had not given up a goal scored by their opposition. Only an own goal has hit the back of their net, but that quickly changed day when just 5 minutes off the clock, which I believe was the fastest goal of this cup, an attacking spell in Morocco's box ended when it came to the foot of left back Theo Hernandez, who from an acute angle raised his foot and hit the ball over the keeper for France's first of the game. Back and forth it went for the remainder of the half and most of the second before the match was all put to rest in the 79th when a lovely bob and weave footwork move from Kylian Mbappe was poked away from him and made its way to the crashing Randall Kolo Muani's foot. Give that to me, Ferris. You're always good.
I typed
Okay.
it. I was like, I don't even. I call it Muani.
Muani. There we go. Well, that's what we'll say it is. He was just subbed on a minute earlier. The Eintracht Frankfurt man helped to seal France's spot in the World Cup finals once again. Subs for France have been huge.
Yeah,
and shown up big.
Odd in this one, they kind of got a little bit of a flu going around. They're calling it like camel flu, or it's a bit of a spell of something going around where it took out Rabiot in midfield. So Fofana started, and it took out Upamecano, and the Liverpool man Kone started. You know, to go through the laundry list of people that aren't there for them, right? Like Giroud wouldn't be playing number 9 for this team. That would have been Benzema. You had the RB Leipzig player, Njoku, who was injured. You know, you just have a whole bunch of players. No Conte. You have a whole bunch of France players that aren't here, and yet they're still churning out results, still playing well. With the play of Messi, we're almost forgetting that Mbappe could go back-to-back with World Cups and not even be 25 yet.
Yeah.
Talk about a GOAT. He is the best player in the world at the time. Now, he wasn't that effective in this game. Well, he was more effective in this game than he was against England. England did a good job of kind of not allowing him to get fully in the match. But going on to the finals with him and France, you know, this is going to be a powerhouse of a finals. You got Messi on one side, Mbappe on the other.
And who else coming back? Karim Benzema may come back for this final.
No.
Yeah, did you see that?
No, I didn't.
There's a possibility he'll make a shock return to the final. The coach is, he is declined to comment. He returned to training with Real Madrid this week, but French's Didier Deschamps was mum on a World Cup return. So he's up again. So there was all this like talk of, will he show up?
I'd be highly surprised if that comes.
I wouldn't. I don't know that I would do it. You have such.
I do it as a sub.
A sub, yeah, because subs have been scoring. Actually,
like
exactly
70th?
what I do with him. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
I don't know. The team's been working so well, the way they are, and I don't know that I would change too much chemistry.
Yeah.
This flu thing though may force that hand because a lot of them have had to isolate.
Yeah.
I was just reading the. I had to check Ferris because you said it, and I went, "Did Ferris just say something racist?" It actually is called the camel flu. I'm not saying you said it. I went, "Wait, is that something you read somewhere?" And it is a terrible.
No.
Like that's not what you call it.
Make that up.
I know you wouldn't have knowingly done that. I had a mild panic and I had to look it up. And it is actually called the camel flu. It's actually similar to the COVID SARS variant, and it's fever, cough, difficulty breathing, diarrhea, and vomiting. Woof.
Fun time.
So let's hope that doesn't get on France because I want to see both these teams go at each other full force.
Absolutely.
Why are all of our flus named after animals?
I don't know.
Bird flu,
Swine
camel
flu.
flu, swine flu.
Well,
bat
this
flu.
one you actually get it from droplets. A camel gets the flu, and you get it.
Wait, would you eat the droplets of a camel? Where are we going?
No, it's like a sneeze or it spits. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to look it up real quick because that's why I was
real
confused
quick
myself.
Before we move on to the finals, which will again be France and Argentina. How about Morocco in this tournament, though?
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, they became people were rooting on them that would probably couldn't point out Morocco on a map. They thought it was so cool what they were doing.
Yeah, and the it almost felt like a home game each game they played because so close to that Middle East, area, and just kind of holding on hopes of the whole of Africa, pretty much the whole of the Middle East in this, and their level of defense, their level of heart that they played for, just some very good moments from what seems like, at least how they're touting it here on Fox in America, is like one of those NCAA tournament Cinderella teams that get as far as they do, and the Butlers playing against the Dukes, and they're so hardy, they're so wholesome. But no, what a wonderful team that just absolutely defended well, scored well, played the game in a way where you can sit there and go, none of those were fortunate wins. They earned every bit of what they got.
Yeah. Real quick, the actual name of the sickness is the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. Camel flu is a nickname.
But because you can get it from camels, right?
Yes, but
right.
Right. But the official, World Health Organization name for it is Middle East Respiratory Syndrome.
We'll be doing our medical podcast after this. So, coming up this Sunday, December 18th, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the U.S. on the Big Fox, Argentina will take on France in the 2022 World Cup final in December. Still so weird. Messi versus Mbappe, South America versus Europe, Copa America champs versus defending World Cup champions. Gentlemen, who you got?
Would it be cool to see pens in this?
Oh, I mean, if you really want, I don't think
I don't know if it's going to go there. I'll take France 2-1.
I think it could be a decently scoring game, a decently high scoring game for these two sides. France 3-2.
I'm going to say France 2-1 out of extra time.
Yeah, it's kind of I'm along.
I would love to see Messi go home crying like Brett Favre. Mostly because
I would too. Not gonna lie.
I am sick to death of the whole Messi versus Ronaldo crap. Just both of you go away. I'm so tired of all of it.
See, but I'm annoyed more by Ronaldo, so Messi winning would be funny to me.
No, because all we're going to hear is we're not going to hear about how Argentina won. We're going to hear about how Messi won.
Correct.
It's going to be, it's going to be abysmal. Same thing would have happened on the other side. Had Portugal gone that far, it would have been, Ronaldo won. So it's the same thing for both.
Yes, exactly.
I think it would be, I mean, does anybody know when's the last time there was back-to-back World Cups?
Whoever loses, PSG wins.
Brazil? Wasn't it Brazil?
I'm pretty sure it's Brazil. Yeah. I mean, to do it in the modern day and with the injuries that they've had, no Pogba, no Conte, no Njoku, no Benzema, and to still do it, I think would be crazy for Brazil to do it. Blake, you could be right with the 3-2.
France.
You could see both of them really not pushing, but it's going to be an interesting one. Both very good goalies in net too, right? I think the nod goes slightly to France with Lloris, but if it gets down to pens, look at what Martinez has done in pens. So who knows?
France
should be a fun one.
Not Brazil. You definitely said Brazil.
Did I?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
So real quick, the last team to do it was Brazil, the 1958 World Cup and the 1962 World Cup.
Well, there you go.
And then England won it in 66, right?
Here's a quick trivia question. Who was the only other team to go back-to-back?
France. That would be interesting if it was. I'm going to go with France.
The Dutch?
Italy. 1934, 1938.
Dominic the donkey.
Hee-haw.
Also, it will help decide the Golden Boot, too.
Yeah.
Messi currently ahead on more assists. Should be interesting.
Should be a fantastic final. Excited to watch it. I've just been watching it on Telemundo because the Fox coverage is terrible. I don't know about you, gentlemen. But we can talk about the Fox coverage maybe at the wrap of this whole thing.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, that'll be a
good
one.
Ooh, okay.
It's not good. It's not good. And they just got the MLS rights, even though Apple has that's a whole other thing we can get into that gets real confusing. We'll save that.
That
for
is
another
very
time.
confusing.
Yeah, we'll save that for the MLS preview.
Yes, the MLS preview.
Welcome to the United States.
It's going to become a thing.
I'm Bomber, and this is Gerbil. We're going to talk to the MLS podcast.
Beers and trucks. Here's what we're going to do.
Amazing. All right. Well, our beers of the pod, I had the new Belgium's holiday ale, quite delicious. And you gents, what did you have again?
Hardywood Christmas morning imperial milk stout with ginger, cinnamon, honey, vanilla, and coffee. And
the honey bread, the Hardy. Man, I totally screwed that up. The Hardywood gingerbread stout, an imperial milk stout with cinnamon, vanilla, ginger, and honey.
Ferris, you got us a Zlatan quote for the night?
Oh, I sure do. I can't remember if I said this one or not, but Zlatan, when asked about Wayne Rooney reportedly going to move to PSG, it's relevant because Harry Kane passed Wayne. Or I think he's tied with him now on goals for England. But anyways, so when he was asked about this move, Zlatan is quoted as saying, "If Rooney still wants to move next summer, I would urge him to come and play with me in Paris. But he would have to get used to the fact that Zlatan scores even better goals than him."
Lovely. I love it. All right, it's almost Christmas. What does Santa's elves listen to while they work?
I don't know.
Electronic music.
Jingle Bell Rock?
Rap music.
Ah,
I see what you did there.
lovely.
It's like a classic one too. I've definitely heard that one before.
That's an old school dad joke. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, folks. As always, if you would follow us on the Twitters, the Instagrams, the Facebook, Untapped, where we will share all these beers. If you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or however you listen to us, get a screen grab, get it to us. We'll get you something fun, a magnet or koozie or something to mail to you, or just tell your friends to give us a listen. We appreciate it. Boom, boom, boom. That's it, gentlemen. You ready to do this?
Yep.
Sure.
All right. Love the beer. Cherish the game. The Brewtiful Game. Ow! Oh, sorry. That penalty that Kane missed just hit me in the head finally. Just came out of orbit. That was for you, Ferris.